The Middle East has been a crucible of conflict for over 5,000 years. From the Sumerians, who believed they were created by beings from the stars, to the drone strikes of 2024, this region has never known peace. Some say it's a cosmic war, orchestrated by the Annunaki. Others claim it's a financial war, engineered by the world's elite bankers. What if it's both? What if the same hands that shaped the first empires now control the last barrels of oil?
The Sumerians were meticulous record keepers. They described their gods, the Anunnaki, as physical beings who came from the heavens, who taught them agriculture, law, and warfare. We dismiss this as myth. But what if it's history, written in a language we no longer understand?
Western powers have weaponized ancient mythology for centuries. The idea of a chosen land, or a cosmic destiny, is a tool. The Iran-Israel conflict is the latest chapter in a very old playbook.
Around 3000 BCE, the Sumerians created the first cities, the first writing, and the first armies. But their own texts say they did not do this alone. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the Enuma Elish, and the King's List all describe beings who came down from the heavens, the Anunnaki. Fringe archaeologists like Zecharia Sitchin argued they were not gods, but an advanced extraterrestrial race who came for gold and left behind oil as a byproduct of their technology.
The Anunnaki needed gold to repair their planet's atmosphere. They created Homo sapiens as a slave species, and when they left, they seeded the Middle East with oil-rich deposits, not as a gift, but as a control mechanism. Oil is their legacy.
Zecharia Sitchin, a controversial archaeologist and author of The 12th Planet, argued that the Anunnaki were real. He claimed they came from a hypothetical planet called Nibiru, with a 3,600-year orbit. Critics dismiss Sitchin as a pseudo-archaeologist, but his books have sold millions of copies, and his ideas have influenced a generation of fringe thinkers. One such thinker, an anonymous oil worker's grandson from Kirkuk, told us this. The British engineers in 1927 found symbols under the sand, the same symbols on Sumerian tablets. The oil wasn't just oil, it was Anunnaki blood. But the Anunnaki theory is just one thread. Another leads to the financial elite, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the men who built the IMF and World Bank at Bretton Woods in 1944. They didn't invent financial warfare. They inherited it from an older tradition, the idea that controlling debt means controlling nations. And the Middle East, with its vast oil reserves, has always been the ultimate prize. This documentary will take you on a journey through the hidden truths of the Iran-Israel-USA conflict, from the dawn of civilization to the present day. You will hear from historians, fringe thinkers, former intelligence officers, and even those who claim to have seen the Anunnaki's influence firsthand. By the end, you may never see the Middle East the same way again.
My grandfather was an oil worker in Kirkuk in 1927. He told me the British engineers found symbols under the sand, the same symbols on Sumerian tablets. They knew. The oil wasn't just oil. It was Anunnaki blood.
Whether you believe in the Anunnaki or not, the historical record is clear. The Middle East's oil was discovered and controlled by Western powers in the early 20th century. In 1927, oil gushed from the Baba Gurgur field near Kirkuk, Iraq. The British had won the region after World War I, and they never left. By 1953, the pattern was set. Oil equals power, and power requires war. The Sumerians also left behind a warning. The Epic of Gilgamesh tells of a great flood set by the gods to destroy humanity. Only one man, Utnapishtim, was saved. After the flood, the gods made a covenant. Humans would serve, and the gods would rule. Some fringe theorists see this as a template for the modern world. The elite, whether Anunnaki or banker, rule from above. The rest of us serve. From the ziggurats of Ur to the oil rigs of the Persian Gulf, the shape is the same. A pyramid, a hierarchy. A few at the top, many at the bottom. And at the very top, some say beings who are not entirely human. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. First, we must understand the financial engine that drives modern war. In July 1944, as World War II raged, 44 nations met at the Bretton Woods Resort in New Hampshire. Their goal: rebuild the global economy. Their result: the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. Officially, these institutions were designed to prevent another Great Depression. Unofficially, they became the financial weapons of the Anglo-American elite. The architects of Bretton Woods were men like Harry Dexter White of the U.S. Treasury and John Maynard Keynes of Britain. But behind them stood the private bankers, the Rothschilds, the Warburgs, the Rockefellers. These families had controlled European finance for centuries, and they saw the Middle East as the key to the future. Oil, they knew, would power the 20th century, and whoever controlled oil controlled the world. Dr. William Engdahl, author of The Blood of the Earth, explains, the IMF's structural adjustment programs were designed to keep oil-producing nations in perpetual debt. You see it in Iran in the 1950s, in Iraq in the 1990s, in Libya in the 2000s. The goal is not democracy. The goal is control over the flow of oil and the flow of money. But the banker's blueprint goes deeper. A fringe thinker from Munich who asked to remain anonymous told us, the Rothschilds famously said, "Give me control of a nation's money supply, and I care not who makes its laws." But who gave them that knowledge? Some say it was passed down through secret societies. The Illuminati, the Rosicrucians, who trace their rituals back to Sumerian priesthoods. The Anunnaki taught humans how to use money as a weapon.
Anu Enlil, Ea, Nanna, Utu, Inanna, Nergal, may the gold flow.
Whether or not you accept the secret society theory, the historical record is undeniable. In 1951, Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh nationalized the country's oil industry. The British, who had controlled Iranian oil for decades, were furious. The CIA and MI6 planned a coup. On August 19, 1953, Operation Ajax succeeded. Mossadegh was arrested. The Shah was reinstated, and Western oil companies got their contracts back. The pattern repeated in 1973, after the Yom Kippur War. Arab nations used oil as a weapon for the first time, cutting production and quadrupling prices. The West panicked, but behind the scenes, the US made a secret deal with Saudi Arabia. Oil would be sold only in US dollars, the petrodollar, and in return, the US would protect the Saudi monarchy. That deal, sealed in 1974, is the real axis of Middle East power. The 19th century occultist Helena Blavatsky, founder of Theosophy, claimed that the Anunnaki were real, and that their earthly agents had always been the priests of wealth. She wrote, "The secret doctrine teaches that humanity has been guided and manipulated by higher intelligences for eons. The Anunnaki are real, and their influence continues today. Whether through ancient gods or modern bankers, the result is the same. A small elite controls the many, and the Middle East is their battlefield." The Yom Kippur War of October 1973 lasted just 20 days, but its consequences are still with us. Egypt and Syria attacked Israel on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. Israel survived, barely, but the Arab oil embargo that followed changed the world. Gasoline prices quadrupled, Western economies stumbled, and for the first time the world realized that oil was not just a commodity, it was a weapon. The petrodollar system that emerged from the 1974 US-Saudi deal ensured that oil would be bought and sold only in dollars. This created an insatiable demand for US currency, propping up the American economy for decades. But it also created resentment. Iran, under the Shah, had been a US ally. But in 1979, the Iranian Revolution overthrew the Shah. The new Islamic Republic, led by Ayatollah Khomeini, was fiercely anti-American and anti-Israel. The Iran-Iraq War that followed, from 1980 to 1988, was one of the bloodiest conflicts of the 20th century. Over 1 million people died. Chemical weapons were used. Trenches reminiscent of World War I stretched across the desert. And behind the scenes, the US and Israel played both sides, weakening Iran while also keeping Saddam Hussein's Iraq in check. A former CIA officer, speaking on condition of anonymity, told us, "The Iran-Iraq War was a perfect stalemate. That's how empires control regions, through balanced chaos." In 1981, Israel launched Operation Opera, a daring airstrike that destroyed Iraq's Osirak nuclear reactor. The strike was condemned internationally, but Israel saw it as necessary for survival. Some fringe theorists see a deeper meaning. An Iraqi exile in London told us, "My uncle fought in the Iran-Iraq War. He told me there were foreign soldiers, not just Western advisors, but men without flags, speaking strange languages. He said they looked like shadows. I think they were Anunnaki hybrids." testing us. The war ended in 1988 with no real winner. Iran was exhausted, Iraq was deeply in debt, and Kuwait, which had lent Iraq money, refused to forgive the loans. In 1990, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. The U.S. responded with Operation Desert Storm. The Gulf War lasted just 43 days, but it established a permanent American military presence in Saudi Arabia, a fact that would later be used by Osama bin Laden to justify the 9/11 attacks. The pattern is clear. Every few years, a war in the Middle East. Every war, oil prices spike. Every spike, the Western economies suffer, except the bankers. War is good for business. As Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, a former Reagan administration economist, put it, the world bankers use wars to reset economies, creating debt and dependency. The Middle East is the ultimate prize in this game. By 1991, the U.S. had fought 2 major wars in the Middle East in less than a decade. The Cold War was over, but a new enemy was emerging, radical Islam. And Israel, America's closest ally in the region, was preparing for the next round. The 1990s saw the Oslo Accords, the rise of Hamas, and the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. But the real shift came in 2003 when the U.S. invaded Iraq. Officially, it was about weapons of mass destruction, but many believe it was about oil and about Israel's security.